He's saying we're live. My laptop is saying we're live. Is that correct? I usually wait for you to say, the recording is going on.
Yeah, right now it's uploaded to YouTube, and then we're gonna grab it from YouTube and put it on the website.
Okay.
And then I'll click start webinar, and that's when the recording progress pops up.
He's saying we're live. My laptop is saying
We're being visited by Sylvia Wilson Past.
yes, I heard that. I heard.
We are good to go.
Thank you. All right, welcome everyone. This is ALCOSAN's Professional Services Committee meeting. Today is May the 9th, 2024. We will begin with a roll call. Ms. Prater.
Emily Kincaid.
Here.
Dr. Shanna Tharp Gilliam.
Present.
Miss Sylvia Wilson.
Here. Right, thank you. We have no informational items today, so we are going to move right into our action items. Item A is a motion to approve the following short list in alphabetical order for the miscellaneous HVAC improvements product. And rather than me go ahead and read them off and then for them to be repeated, I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, thank you very much. The word miscellaneous in that heading is a technical engineering term. We've accumulated some things that we needed some work done, and we called it miscellaneous. And I will defer to Kim Kennedy, our Director of Engineering and Construction, to enlighten you not only on the project scope, but also the process of shortlisting. Kim?
Yep, thanks, Doug. So this is just kind of picking up a bunch of issues that have been lingering in a couple different process buildings at the plant. We went out for a request for qualifications in March for these services, and it's really a great opportunity to work with some newer firms for these services, which we don't typically procure. We got 5 qualifications packages, and we were happy that we got such good participation in the procurement. And at this point, we'd like to recommend that HF Lens, TEC, and Tower Engineering be advanced to the RFP phase and would be issuing the request for proposal in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, thank you. All right, do we have any questions from our board members? All right, hearing none, then could I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it has been approved by the 3 board members in attendance. We will move on to that. We'll move on now to item B. It's a motion to approve the following short list again for the Allegheny River Tunnel final design S490. And again, instead of me reading them, even though they are presented in alphabetical order, I'm going to present them to Mr. Jackson to handle the reference to these items.
Yep, thank you again, Madam Chair. So if you recall back in January, Director Kennedy presented an informational item to the committee specifically for this particular scope on the RFQ. Again, in the tunnel trilogy of ours, this would be the second leg. The Ohio River Tunnel is well on its way approaching final design. And I will again turn it over to Kim to talk about the shortlisting process and our recommendation.
All right, thanks, Doug. So this request for qualifications was published on Valentine's Day on February 14th. And we did a ton of outreach in the community. This is obviously a very big job and it's very important to ALCOSAN. We had an informational meeting via Teams on February 29th, and there were over 100 people that participated in that meeting. So obviously this is gathered a lot of interest, and we received 4 submittals on April 12th. We received submittals from DLZ, Peony, STV, and WSP. And at this time, we recommend that all 4 of the firms that submitted qualifications for the Allegheny River Tunnel final design be moved forward to the proposal phase.
Right, thank you. I think that's pretty clear, but we have any questions from our board members?
I don't have any.
I have a quick question. I know that there was a lot of work attempts to try and get folks that are local to be involved in this. Are any of these folks local?
Yes, very much so. So I mean, I'm listing the primes, but these are pretty big teams
Mhm.
with really positive representation from our local firms. So we were pretty happy across the board. And then I think what you're speaking to is also equally important is on the construction side, right? So that's the outreach event that we're having in August to sort of garner that interest on the construction side. But our professional services firms, I think at this point, really understand ALCOSAN's goals, and they present things that are in line with what our expectations are with small businesses and local.
Thank you.
Right.
Good question.
I
I was just saying that was a very good question.
yes, it is. It was a good question. All right, could I have a motion and a second to approve, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all 3 board members approve. Thank you so much. We will go on to item C, which is a motion to recommend the modification of service authorization 274 for GAI Consultants to provide ongoing engineering support services during the annual sewage sludge incinerator units number 1 and 2 stack testing for an amount not to exceed basically $79,000. Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, thank you again. So as the language implies, it is annual. As a refresher and a reminder, since our sewage sludge incinerators back in 2016 were re-regulated under different sections of the Clean Air Act that then required us to, in various stages for 9+ pollutants, do some form of testing of those pollutants on annual or less frequent basis. This is our ask for 2024. I'm pleased to say both units are fully compliant with the requirements. For this year, we have testing coming up in June for unit number 2 of slightly less than the 9 pollutants. And then in the fall, we'll do unit number 1, I believe, for 2 pollutants. GAI has been our service provider since 2016. So on the project management side, the services they've provided to us, more specifically me, thus far, as well as a sub that they have that comes in to perform the actual stack testing. And then also a sub that we have that we utilize them, they utilize them to serve as the submitter of the results to the agencies. I recommend award to GAI for these services for stack testing for 2024.
Thank you. Any questions? If not, could I have a motion and a second to approve?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Just to be clear, this is a motion to recommend.
Yes.
Motion to recommend.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
We are not making any final decisions at this here meeting. We are merely recommending things to the board at large.
That's correct. Okay. And further, well, I think I heard all 3 board members say yes on that one.
Yep.
All right, move on to item D is a motion to recommend the modification of service authorization 396 for Veritas Prime to implement recommended work on the human resource information system and 3 years of follow-on system support in the amount of basically $471,000. Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, thank you. So back in November, we came to the committee with an ask for I'm not sure if it's Veritas or Veritas, but we'll go with
Yeah.
Veritas. We came to the committee for a request for an amount for this firm to perform a needs assessment. And over the course of the past several months, interfacing with our group, we have determined that we in fact do have needs, measurable needs for this service through a review discussion with our procurement division, our administration division, and human resources, as well as our IT folks. They vetted through the process of narrowing down the scope of the implementation of this software and a time period. So part of this fee is associated with, and it's the majority of the fee, but part of this fee is an implementation of the new HRIS system software that we're hopeful by the end of Q3 of this year that has been implemented. And for various portions of this software, including licensing, a portion of this fee is also associated with those ongoing up to 3-year support services needed. So with that, I recommend approval.
Certainly. I know this is something that we've been giving some attention to and very much needed. So obviously, we expect that this to give the obvious support that we need for what is being done at ALCOSAN. So are there any questions or comments on this?
I have a question. So, when I see it says a 3-year follow-on, what's the anticipated, kind of launch date for the new system?
So based upon what was discussed and negotiated, the implementation is expected to end around the end of Q3. So the end of September would be our timetable that we negotiated, both the scope of the work as well as that time period. So assuming that that happens as expected, then that 3-year follow-up support would begin not long after the implementation phase. So I would say October-ish, and then the 3 years that follow.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So what is the kind of the scope of this? I mean, it's the software, but also there's additional, what kind of changes are being made with this contract?
Right, so this is a new contract, so
Sorry, no, I didn't mean the changes to the contract. I meant like what is in the human resources, what changes are we making?
yep, so I might have to delegate to Suzanne Thomas on this, but basically we have had a collection over the years of various forms of HR systems to manage everything from retirements to notifications to you name it. And it had all been under various forms of an umbrella. And I know our human resource manager, Donna Skundrich, has been speaking of an HRIS information system like this, that her familiarity was more at the hospital level, which is ultimately where she came from, where everything was under one umbrella, one platform, and it allowed not only the HR staff, but it also became the communication means by which they would then have all of the employees at the authority be able to access under one umbrella. So the scope of that, in, as best as I could describe it, if Suzanne Thomas would care to add any more to that, but that's the general high-end view of what the purpose of it was, is to take all of the individual older outdated platforms, including some paper copies of things that we have, and throw them into an electronic form to help them better manage what they do, but then allow access to all ALCOSAN employees as well.
So basically a streamlining of the processes. Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Suzanne is nodding her head. Yes, she's in agreement with that.
No, it's taking from recruitment cradle to grave till they retire. And if I want to change my beneficiaries, I just go online as opposed to filling out paperwork and those sort of things. So it really is streamlining and centralizing all of the HR, including training. It keeps track of everybody's training and certifications and all that. Next.
One more question. Does this also house like performance reviews? Like, it's really soup to nuts, eh?
It's really soup to nuts. So
Okay.
if we had somebody that we were recruiting and it would automatically send out things, they come, they come in for the interview, all the notes, everything up until basically retirement, and including like the retiree portion of it will be added at some point, but for the most part, cradle to grave.
This is a pretty big change.
It is. It is,
For
but
us-
I think
yeah,
it's
for us,
needed.
dramatic.
We have,
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's dramatic.
Yeah.
Organization, just the repository of information from whether or not it's the training side of online information that's able to be accessed. It will again transform, I think, how our HR department integrates and advises staff on a variety of ongoing separate systems.
I have one more question. Um, so September is quick, for something this robust and comprehensive. What that's very quick. So I hope it goes well. Godspeed. And I presume that you probably have some fallback. Because of course these technology transitions, I've never seen them go as quickly as we expect them to. So what happens if it's not ready in September?
so let me just say that IT has been an integral part of this system development as far as working with Veritas. By the way, it's Veritas. Working with them, the needs assessment, we had everybody entrenched, and it's really an out-of-the-box system with some minor tweaks that
Okay.
that we need based upon, we do bump ups, we have different things like that. So this is something that we're pretty confident that September things will be substantially complete, and just some tweaks here and there. And as Doug said, 3 years of support for, them to continue to support us. And it's so many hours a month, like say 25, and we don't use all 25, it rolls over into the next month. And just so you know, this is a milestone payment contract. So if they don't achieve a milestone, they don't get paid until they do.
Okay. Well, that's good. You actually answered two of the things that I was thinking about. I kind of like the fact that it's an out of the box, like a off the shelf sort of
Same,
that
same.
we're adjusting, as opposed to a new build, because that's
Yeah.
where I've really seen some problems. And you try to build kind of new systems to do this type of work. So I'm glad to hear that we're using something that is sort of off the shelf with adjustments and tweaks, as you called them, to meet our specific needs. That gives me more confidence that we're going to make the September deadline. And then the other part were the milestone payments. So we're not paying, it's not like a monthly bill regardless of,
No,
or
no.
a monthly invoice regardless of what they do. It is based on their actual production of the deliverables. So, okay.
Yes, this has been a hard fought, as I said, IT, HR, admin, procurement, and Donna Skundrich and I are doing dinner when this is all done. It will be in Paris, just to celebrate.
That's hilarious. You might need board representation
I
at
think
said
we
dinner.
do. I think we do, but I wasn't gonna say it.
Max, help me out here, right? Stop the
Hilarious.
conversation. To your point, though, Dr. Gilliam, I think it is noteworthy that even though it isn't out of the box, when you're taking existing data and integrating it into something else, there are going to be things that will be discovered. There will be, perhaps bumps along the way. I think Miss Fantoni has had her fair share of experiences on JD Edwards and other things that are out there that even though it's an out of the box, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the kickoff is in June, I believe. So that is June, July, August, and September. That will be a busy 4 months. More will be known. But we believe this is our best path forward.
Well, I mean, it sounds good. I mean, no one managing such a large staff should be doing pretty much anything on paper at this point. So I'm looking forward to us being successful with this and, bringing ourselves into the modern digital age. So.
And now that we've dug this far into it, now we can just present this to the board ourselves. And when it comes out,
I like that. Volunteers? Do I have a volunteer?
Yeah.
Show of hands?
So
Yeah.
Emily has volunteered to make the PowerPoint slides.
There we go. I will make a motion to recommend this.
Second that motion to recommend.
All right, thank you both. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, there's three of us. We will recommend this. And I must say, this isn't like this is new. There's been changes to the system over the recent years, if not longer. They've changed over, so this is like a modification to what they're doing and is obviously needed. So I'm glad that we will be able to continue to change and make so many modifications that it becomes a better system. Great to know. Great to know. Thank you for approving this, and these items will be presented at the regular board meeting. And at this time, there's no new business, so we will adjourn, and our next Professional Services Committee meeting will be June 13th. I want to thank everybody for all your participation and all what you do to put into this program for us to look at. Thank you all, and have a great day, the rest of you.
Thank y'all.